Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're just going to give a moment for everyone to get settled in the room here. It is so wonderful to see you all. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. The chat is open for everyone, so feel free to say hello, your name, where you work, your organization, what you do, and where you're calling in from today. We'd love to see you all in here. And as always, make sure that your chat is set so that you are able to chat with everyone. As you type in your message here, you are able to change your setting to chat with everyone and not just hosts and panelists. It is so nice to see some familiar faces, some names here. It's so good. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We have, as you can see already, a very international group of people with us. It's really incredible. We've got Germany, we've got New York, New Jersey, we have Tasmania. Nice. Welcome. Well, we have a lot to get through today, so I don't want to take up too much time as people get settled here, but feel free to keep the chat going. It is open again for you to talk and introduce yourselves as we get started. My name is Kyle Plants. I'm the Senior Director of Leadership Programs here at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at CUNY, and we are just thrilled for you to be joining us today for our AI Journalism Lab Adoption Showcase. This program is made possible because of Microsoft, and we are so thrilled for their support in this incredible program and bringing AI training to journalists around the world. So before we dive into what's going to be happening today, I just want to go over some quick ground rules, some quick housekeeping. Again, please make sure that your chat settings are set to chat with everyone, not just hosts and panelists, so that way everyone can see your message. We are going to be using the Q&A function to answer questions during our Q&A portion of our session today. So in order to submit your question at any point during the presentations, feel free to click that button at the bottom of your screen that says Q&A, and that's where you'll be able to type your questions, and you'll also be able to submit them anonymously. And that way, then you are able to get your questions answered throughout the presentations and at the end. So feel free to submit questions at any point. Please don't submit questions in the chat. As you can see, the chat is very active, and we really want to make sure that we get your questions answered. So use that Q&A function to submit your questions. And of course, we are recording right now, so we will share the recording out to everyone who RSVP'd so that you can take a look again at these incredible projects that we're going to be discussing here in a moment. All right, so I am just so excited that we have 6 of our participants from our AI Journalism Lab here that are able to present and talk about the projects that they worked on during this program. We have Defne, Tom, Roni, Demetrius, Giovanny, and Haley, and we're just so thrilled to be able to highlight, again, the incredible work that they were working on how they could test and implement AI in their organizations. But these are just 6 of the 23 participants that we had in our AI journalism lab that started in March of this year and wrapped up in July. And their projects have evolved even since this program ended. And so they're going to talk a little bit about that today. So I'm very excited here. They're wonderful smiling faces of the rest of the cohort. And we're excited to highlight a few of the projects that came out of this lab. Now, some of you might be asking, what is the AI Journalism Lab Adoption Program? Well, let me tell you, it was a 3-month tuition-free and program. Again, that we're thrilled to have Microsoft be able to make this possible. And this program was really for helping news organizations to hit the ground running when it comes to AI adoption. So how can we help them do that? How are they thinking about adoption in their organizations? What does that look like? And throughout the program, they took classes, they met with coaches, they worked on a final project where they were able to identify a problem or challenge or an opportunity of where AI could help them in their organization. And you'll see some of those projects today where they tackled all aspects of the the storytelling process, all the way from research and reporting to distribution and production. You'll get a chance to hear about some of those solutions that they came up with here. I would be remiss to say that this is our this is not the only AI lab that we've had so far. We had one earlier about leaders, but we also are wrapping up soon another lab, our AI community engagement lab. And so we'll have one more showcase coming up this year, so you can see all of those projects as well. And that's going to be a really incredible the showcase as well. And then I'm very excited that we have two more labs that will be starting in 2026. So we'll have our AI JLab leaders and our AI JLab builders. Applications for these two labs are open right now. So those are open until October 10th. So make sure if you're interested or inspired by the projects that you're seeing today and you're like, yes, I want to apply, I want to do this, please feel free to apply. Scan the QR code right here. It'll take you to the website so you can learn more. And as always, if you want to be notified about future programs, opportunities, events that we are having here at the Newmark J School, make sure you sign up for our newsletter. All right, I want to stop sharing my screen and I want to get this party started. I want to invite Haley. She's going to be our first project that we're going to hear from today. And so, Haley, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Kyle. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here with you all. I'm Haley Velasco. I'm the senior editor of News Audience Development at McClatchy Media. For those of you who aren't familiar with us, we're a large group of local papers and now lifestyle magazines that come together to provide journalism for audiences all across the country. So today I'm going to talk about my project a bit. It has seen an evolution since we created it, so that's pretty cool. But really we were focused on at the time, and it still are, how to use AI to support audience focus and audience-centric journalism. So when I was thinking about it in the program, I thought to myself, what if AI could help journalists start stronger before the story's even written? And so that's where the idea for the project came. So first we have to meet our local editors. I mean, I work with local editors all the time, but this is Jake. He's a fictional representation of some folks. AI helped me create his lovely photo here. But Jake is a local editor. He's been in journalism for over 20 years. He started as that good old city beat reporter, working his way through City Hall. And he's worked his way up to being the editor and the leader of a mid-sized paper. So the thing to know about Jake, and really the crux of this whole project, is knowing community inside and out. So from what people need to know about elections and government to the best places for a beach bonfire in California. But Jake's frustration, and the frustration of many of us, lies with really starting from the beginning, subpar pitching, not thinking about audience first. And so instead saying, oh, here's a city hall meeting, we got to cover it, but thinking about that in a different way. So at McClatchy, we've been thinking about these communities of interest. That's what we call them. More or less, it's putting that audience first, thinking, what does this community group need and how do we serve them with our journalism? So to do that, we've kind of come up with 4 connection places. The first thing is we need a connection point, something that many members of our community share. Then we need to be able to meet their needs with our journalism. The community should also be large enough so that it's able to support that sustainable audience. People need things at a consistent basis. And finally, the most important, in my eyes, from the audience perspective, is there should be multiple opportunities to engage them, whether that be through stories, products, experiences, events, lots of opportunity. So a community of interest for Jay could look like this. Local parents in his community who are looking for school tips, events for families, health and vaccine resources, among a myriad of other things. But that group he could identify as people that are interested, and how can we serve them? So where can the AI help us here? I thought and thought and thought about this process, right? There's so many points. It could help us with story ideation. It could help us with creating social at the end. But what I really thought was, let's start from the beginning. So when reporters and editors are forming their ideas and thinking about the audience first, and this might be different for them than they've done in the past, we can help them right here with the pitch. And that can have an outsized impact on the clarity, the usefulness, and eventually the audience fit and results in engagement. So I created a custom GPT. We use LVEX, so that's what I did it in. And the idea being, a reporter will put in a fledgling idea. Like, I thought about this in my car ride, and this is what I came up with. And then the custom GPT will ask clarifying questions to align the pitch with one or more needs of the user, suggest possible angles, give editorial feedback, all of those great things that we need to do when we say, I have this great idea. So the idea being, it's not replacing us as editors, it's just giving the reporters and editors a better place to start, a stronger place, where we feel like they'll connect better with audience. So that has taken a whole journey now. We started there. I built the GPT. She was cute. I worked on her. But now we've even morphed it into an audience-focused, I'll call it mega GPT, that we're calling MemberBot. MemberBot now has all of this pitch rules in it. It has our resources. It has who to contact. It can give you newsletter information, push notifications, all the things in one place. And so now we're working on refining that MemberBot so that it is a one-stop shop for all the things you can need in your audience. And that is my presentation. Thank you guys so much for listening, and shoot over questions if you have them.
Thank you so much, Haley. I really appreciate it. And like I said, we're really going through the entire reporting process here. So we have Haley talking about even before you start reporting, the pitch process. So next, I want to invite Giovanni to turn on his camera and unmute and share his screen. And we'll hear about his really awesome project talking about government alerts. So Giovanni, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here just sharing what we have done in the AI Adoption Lab program. So, oh my God, are you okay? Here it is. So this is how we transform the way we use public data in our newsroom. I am the innovation and AI manager of El Vocero de Puerto Rico, which is the largest newspaper in the island with 125,000 copies daily. And we are starting printing on Saturday. So this week is the first one. So we are growing up. This is the way we are working. Every month, hundreds of government documents are released in Puerto Rico. They are dense, technical, and often ignored. But inside them, there are decisions that shape classrooms, hospital, and the economy. And we build a way to make sure those documents don't get lost and turn government paperwork into journalism. So what the challenge? The information was there, but newsrooms are not always equipped to process it. And in Puerto Rico, like many others, the specialization is shrinking. Reporters cover multiple bits, and new reporters often start without deep expertise. So, and also in the Puerto Rico, we have dozens of agencies overlapping data and additional layer of the fiscal oversight boards and backrooms in progress. So it's a lot of information to follow without tools. What we have done, so we face that complexity and we ask ourselves a simple but urgent question. How can our newsroom keep up with so much information and so few specialized reporters? And the answer came up with the way we make the platform. We centralize those information flows in just one place, and we build a platform that continuously scrapes 8 official government websites. When we conclude the program, there were like 3 or 4 government agencies scrape it every day, but now we have 8 of them.
Giovanni, so sorry to interrupt. Do you want to advance your slide? I just want to make sure we still see your title slide.
Oh, did you want to see the what?
You're still on your title slide. I just want to make sure you're advancing your slides.
I am. You don't see the movement?
No, we're still on the title slide. I'm sorry.
Let me try again.
No worries. You're good.
Share again. It's working now.
Yes, there you go. Perfect. Thank you.
I was presenting this. This is challenge actually, and I was now presenting how it looks the platform. So yeah, we created a platform where we have all the government websites, and we have the information organized by topic, and we receive alerts from the new government data we detect every day. So yeah, and this is how also it looks. From here, the workflow is designed to be both efficient and editorially useful. It starts with the detection of a new document right here in this platform. This automatically notifies editors via email. The document then is processed with AI, which identifies key sections, extracts potential story angles, and suggests ways the information could be framed and then published. Editors can choose the most relevant angle of the story, and the system generates a draft that we can use or we don't, depending on the quality and the way we can abord the topic. So yeah, of course, technology alone is not enough. Journalistic judgment remains at the center of this platform and this project. And that's why our system AI only suggests, but editors actually decide. We preserve editorial judgment. At the same time, our newsroom raised an important concern during the process. Journalists were worried about the environmental cost of running large model and using AI in the newsroom. So that's why we turned to the principle of green AI, using smaller and energy efficient models that lower the print footprint while using the platform detecting documents every day, and 1, 2, 3 times per hour. So yeah, that's how we work that way, the concept of the journalist. And since the program, as I said, we expand the range of sources monitored. At the beginning were 4, and now we are working with 8, and actually working to have more government sites scraped. We receive alert from the system, and that spark into stories with real public impact. In fact, some of these alerts even pointed us to stories strong enough to make the front page. And that's the value of the project, aligning AI with both ethical and sustainability. What we have learned is simple. It's really simple. AI can be part of the solution, but only if it works with us. And AI doesn't replace journalists and doesn't replace the work we do with journalists, but it gives us back the time to investigate, to clarify, to see what matters, and give us the power to better serve our community. Thank you. And here are my contacts, so you can reach me out or just in the chat, in the questions.
Thank you so much, Giovanni. I really appreciate it. And feel free to ask Giovanni questions in the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. As you can see, we're already answering some of your questions there, so feel free to ask away. I'm going to invite Tom. He's already on the screen. I love it. Tom, feel free. Take it away.
Excellent. Thank you, Kyle. Let me make sure we've got the slides presenting. All right. So yes, I'm Tom Caputo. I am the Chief Technology Officer at a community newsroom outside of Boston called the Belmont Voice. And I come at this opportunity, it's been a ton of fun to be part of this adoption lab, but I come at all these opportunities with the mindset of a product manager. It's my training. So I always try to keep our users sort of central to it. So with that, let me introduce you to Jesse Floyd. He is the editor-in-chief of our newspaper here in Belmont. He has a small staff of himself and 2 other editors, and they get a paper out each week that we distribute to 27,000 members of our community, and he publishes stories on a daily basis online. The challenge that Jesse faces, like I think many journalists, is that there are limited resources to accomplish what they want to accomplish. And there are beats they want to cover, there's stories they want to dig deeper into, and they just don't always have the time to do that. We also lack fact checking and copy editors sort of on staff. So invariably they do their best, but errors slip into the production and certainly hurt our credibility. And we know we can engage our audience more effectively if we can implement SEO best practices, but we're sort of doing and getting by with what we've got. Just to kind of give you a bit of a sense of that, we've looked at some of the data. 92% of our posts were lacking any meaningful SEO optimization. We had a tagging taxonomy that was all over the map with 400 different tags, didn't make any sense. And as we tracked this, we had a point back in June leading up to this lab where 5 of the last 8 papers that went out, we caught in print, grammar and spelling mistakes that were just embarrassing after the fact. So the idea of the project was, can we create an AI-enabled tool that would provide some automation and would help in the editorial process? Hopefully it could do everything from identifying spelling, grammar, and AP style issues, but also could help accelerate fact checking and facilitate that. It could bring SEO best practices into the newsroom, but do it in a way that made it very easy for the editorial team to embrace it. And if we could do it effectively, we wanted to integrate it seamlessly into their workflow. The team uses Google Docs, WordPress. We've got some automations using Trello and Zapier. Wanted to integrate into that process, but keep a human in the loop at every step. So the AI is really helping, but the editors, reporters are in control. So I want to do a quick demo for you. I'm going to try to do it very, very quickly. But imagine the step before the team ultimately publishes to the web or hands it off to our layout team. They go through a final AI check. And the user interface that pops up is what you see here. On the left-hand side, they've got the Google Doc, the same Google Doc they've been working in. And the right-hand side, they've got their AI editor, or the AI suggestion editor. And across the top, you can see it has a few different areas it's going to provide guidance on. So the first is suggested edits. So these are grammar, spelling, clarity, style issues. And a recommendation will be made. The editor reviews it. If they think it's a good recommendation, they make the change in the Google Doc. And then they give us the feedback that was a good recommendation. They can also tell us that it wasn't particularly helpful, and they'll ignore it. And then we feed that back in as we make the prompts better and try to be more effective. They also can have facilitated fact checking. So this particular story is about a solar install that we want to put on top of a new rink. There was a reference to a $29.9 million project that the community voted for. We wanted to verify that number. You click the research button. It leverages Perplexity, another AI tool, and has Perplexity do some research and help you figure out if that is in fact the right number. The beauty of Perplexity is it always sources. So you can see here with a quick click, you can see what the source was, and we can bring up the actual government document that verifies that. So we take a 3 or 4 minute fact checking process, hopefully reduce it to 30 seconds. We make some headline suggestions. Sometimes the editorial team grabs these, sometimes they don't, but it certainly can be a means of inspiration. From an SEO perspective, we leverage the fact that AI can embrace best practices for AI. It's really good at summarization. Read the document, make some recommendations around key phrases, meta descriptions, let the editorial team review it, modify it, and then ultimately approve it. Same is true with our hero images. How do you make sure you get the alt text right, the image captions right? All these things that the team does not always do and doesn't always do to the degree that they wish they could. Let's leverage the capabilities of AI, make recommendations, keep the editors in control, but they get to make the choice with the AI support. They then approve it. And again, it gets tied into the back-end upload in just a second. And then finally, tags. We created a taxonomy of 50 tags we wanted to use. Now the AI makes recommendations with a couple clicks. The editorial team can embrace that. All of this now gets associated with the document. And when we move it to upload it into WordPress, the automation pulls it all in so that the captions, the tags, the SEO optimization, alt text, all of that is there seamlessly and makes it much easier for the team to do those administrative tasks so that they can ultimately focus on the journalism that they care so much about and that we want them embracing. So just a follow-up from where we are from the adoption lab that we ran in June. The tool has now been implemented and rolled out across every story at the Belmont Voice. 65% of the proposed edits are being accepted. We want to get that higher and higher. We're going to continue to iterate. We've launched this tool now with another newsroom over in Weston, a neighboring town, and there are several other newsrooms in the area who are expressing interest, and we're exploring working with them as well. So the goal is let's keep getting some more newsrooms on this. Let's make the tool better, and we're even exploring the idea of embracing some social posts and facilitating that part of the process as well. So feel free to reach out if you've got questions at the email address below. But thank you very much for the time. And thanks for the opportunity to participate in the lab.
Thank you so much, Tom. I really appreciate it. There's some amazing questions coming in here, so keep them coming, and thank you so much. I'm going to invite Roni to get started here. Welcome, Roni. Oh, there you go.
All right. Hi, thank you, Kyle. Hi, everyone. I'm Roni Satria from CNN Indonesia, and today I'll share my project, VO Bias Check. Let me start with the challenge journalists face today. And breaking news is actually coming from one of my pain points. And in breaking news, you have seconds to go live, and what you say cannot be taken back. That pressure makes unconscious bias almost inevitable. And every newsroom struggles with the same dilemma. Deadlines are tight, biases creep in unconsciously, and credibility suffers. Audiences don't just consume news, they scrutinize it. And when they sense unfairness, they tune out. And trust is our only real currency. That's why I built VO Bias Check, not to replace journalists, but to help us see what we often overlook. VO Bias Check is a GPT-powered editorial assistant. It flags gender bias, stereotypes, problematic framing, and tone. But instead of rewriting stories automatically, it suggests alternatives, encouraging reflection, not automation. It's a mirror, not a ghostwriter. So you may wonder, how exactly does it work? I use retrieval augmented generation, or RAG technique. Instead of relying only on a base model, I curated selected files such as journalism ethics codes, bias-sensitive reporting guides, and newsroom case studies, and connected them as a knowledge base. Then I pre-trained the custom GPT with layered prompts, first to detect patterns, second to offer bias-aware alternatives, and third to explain the reasoning in plain language. That combination makes it context-aware, grounded, and journalism values, not just generic text predictions. Of course, no tool matters unless tested by real journalists. I ran 3 experiments, a live webinar with 8 participants, and then user testing with 13 journalists and editors across 24 files, and third, my own benchmark against cloud. And the result, 42% fully engaged with reflection on entire scripts, 31% partial engagement, and 27% weak engagement. Most common issues flagged were gendered language, framing of marginalized groups, and subtle tone bias. Now take a look at the tool in motion. Here's VO Bias Check in motion. Notice how it highlights unconscious bias in script, then suggests alternative. And importantly, it doesn't erase your voice. It nudges you toward ethical phrasing. I took one of my script, particularly in terrorism issues. Yeah. And this is exactly where it differs from general modes. Cloud and other models can generate fluent rewrites, but they lack a newsroom lens. So VO Bias Check is tuned specifically for journalism ethics. The key insight here is that even a free-tier GPT model, when combined with RAG and structured prompting, can catch fluent biases better than general models. This means newsroom can adopt it easily without heavy budgets. which brings me to the newsroom value. Bias is not just an ethical risk, it's a brand risk. Subtle unfairness erodes trust, and trust is measurable. And VO Bias Check provides a structured way to self-review, to future-proof journalism by adopting AI ethically, not reactively. So where do we go from here? I'm piloting this tool with newsrooms and journalism schools, co-developing a feedback loop for editorial tone and seeking collaboration for multilingual expansion. And the aim is simple, actually, make bias detection a standard practice and make AI serve ethics before efficiency. And starting today, I'm opening public access to VO Bias Check so anyone can test it, reflect with it, and help improve it. To close my presentation, journalism exists to resist invisibility. So VO Bias Check is one step to ensure our stories are fair, inclusive, and trustworthy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roni. I really appreciate it. And it's so late for him, so I'm really just happy he's able to take the time to share with us today. We are more than halfway through our presentations here. We have two more left, so I'll invite Demetrius to turn on his camera and unmute and join us here. Keep the questions coming. They're getting answered live throughout the presentations. And if you have questions in general for all of our participants, we will be opening our Q&A more widely here in just a few minutes. So keep the questions coming. Demetrius, take it away.
Thanks a lot, Kyle. Hello, everyone. My name is Demetrius Suggs. I'm the Digital Solutions Manager here at WFAE. And first, thank you so much to everyone that was involved in the program, including my classmates. I mean, we learned a ton. And in light of those learnings, today I'm going to talk to you about how we introduce both automation and a custom GPT to help expand our small digital team's capacity. And as I mentioned, we have definitely learned a lot, and I wanted to make sure that I took all of these learnings and actually focused on something that would have a major impact on the team. So I decided to do some research, get some feedback from the team. You know, what are you struggling with? Where are the pain points? What are the, small monotonous tasks that don't really require your expertise per se, but just, very tedious? And how could we solve for some of those pain points? So we came up with what I call the challenge, and it came from our digital team, which I am a part of. And I found out that our editors were spending nearly 100 hours per month on the production of our newsletter. And it wasn't the creative aspects that they, needed to be focusing on. It was the formatting, making sure the periods were in the right places, the hyperlinks all looked the same. And it was just really bogging down the team. And we already have a very limited staff capacity, especially considering the fact that we support our entire organization. So needed to figure out how can we do more with such a small group of people. So we came up with a couple of objectives for the project. Wanted to focus on time savings, getting more efficient with our workflow, and ultimately improving the value for our audience, which is why we do what we do. And so I did what we call meta prompting. For those that aren't familiar, meta prompting is when you use AI to help you to come up with a prompt to get AI to do what you want it to do. So this is exactly what I loaded into AI, and it helped me to come up with the prompt to be able to load into the back end of our custom GPT so it knows exactly what it needs to do. So now whenever I load into our GPT RSS feed of our content, it'll base the formatting output on an example that I gave it of one of our previous newsletters. So it's going to say, hey, this is how it should be hyperlinked. This is what the font should look like, et cetera, et cetera. And it worked perfectly fine. However, we ran into an issue where the RSS feed that our CMS system generates, it only populates a certain amount of entries. So at any given point, it wasn't pulling all of the content that needed to go into each issue. So that's where we introduced automation through Zapier, where every 15 minutes, Zapier is going to go through our RSS feed and pull all of those RSS content pieces into a spreadsheet in Google Sheets. So now this is kind of like the source that we're able to pull from to load into our custom GPT tool. And the GPT automatically knows how to format everything the way that we need it to do. And this is an example of that. So it'll automatically put out an HTML code, which translates into this fully formatted newsletter. And now our editors are able to spend their time, just kind of reviewing the actual content and making sure that they're spending their time on the things that matter as opposed to just, is this link, formatted properly? Is this period right here? I have to read more in the right place, et cetera, et cetera. So as a full overview, we start with the automation from Zapier to pull in that RSS feed, copy that RSS feed into the custom GPT. It automatically knows what to do. We don't have to do any additional prompting. It spits out that HTML code. We then dump that code into MailChimp, and all of these steps are done in minutes as opposed to the hours that was being spent before. And now the editor just spends the bulk of their time doing a final quality analysis of the newsletter because it is AI, it's not perfect, so we can't just completely have a hands-off approach to it. And the first phase results have been phenomenal. We've been able to slash our per issue prep time by 90%. Our digital editors are incredibly thankful for this. And like I said, we were spending nearly 100 hours a month, and now it's about a 20-minute process per issue. And we were even able to enhance the reader experience by introducing a new grouping or category format to just kind of help with the readability. So people would say, oh, this particular topic I've been trying to keep up with. So they're able to kind of skim through and quickly find those items. And we're not stopping here. There's still a ton of different things that are available to us through the use of AI. So we are looking forward and kind of playing around with a couple of different options. And I want to give a quick shout out to my friend Giovanni for introducing us to a tool called Lovable. And if you're not familiar with Lovable, it's a tool where if you're not the most tech savvy person, if you're not a coder, but you want to be able to build different apps and websites, that's what Lovable is great for. So I've been able to kind of play around with two different products. These aren't, our final phases, but I just wanted to show you a preview. But we're able to build kind of like a digital hub for all of our digital platforms or social media platforms, I should say. And so we're able to put in a different persona for each of the programs, or I'm sorry, platforms. So in this case, for Instagram, Jasmine is our persona. So Jasmine is a 23-year-old Charlotte explorer who works as a social media coordinator. So we're able to, at a glance, be able to say, okay, when it comes to Instagram, we're talking to Jasmine. This is how we're going to format our content. These are objectives of this platform. This is a kind of a summary of the demographics on that platform. And this is good for onboarding new employees. Everyone wears multiple hats here. So if anyone ever has to fill in for someone on the digital side, they can just kind of quickly jump in and say, okay, how do I use LinkedIn on WFAE's behalf, and just be able to see it at a glance. Then we're also playing around with the news play quiz, which is able to use AI based on our content and turn our content into a quiz that our audience can take on a weekly basis just to, kind of have fun and see, am I up to date with what's going on? And then this also opens up an opportunity for sponsorships and revenue through our partners that would like to support, different initiatives like that. So we're continuing to play around, see what's possible, try to expand our offerings to our audience, and just be more efficient internally. And so with that being said, I thank you so much for the time. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Once again, my name is Demetrius Suggs, and thank you all.
Thank you so much, Demetrius. I mean, it's incredible. Going down to 20 minutes from 100 hours is incredible. It's amazing. Um, Last but not least, we are already at our final presentation, which is amazing. I'll pass it over to Defne to round us out here. The Q&A function is still open, so keep asking questions. And if you have questions in general for all of our panelists today, please feel free to drop those in the Q&A. We'll get to those here in just a moment. Defne, please take it away.
Many thanks, Kyle. So I'm Defne. I'm a freelance journalist and editor working mostly with Deutsche Welle's Turkish department. For those who might not know, Deutsche Welle is the international broadcaster of Germany. And the idea came to me when I was in a Transcouting meeting, and I thought maybe this could have been an email. And then I really thought again, and I said to myself, yeah, maybe it actually could be, because there are new tools that can help me to do that. And so basically, we have two meetings that I wanted to automize. One is the weekly meeting, and for that, I created a custom GPT to basically filter the news for our audience. And the second one is email automation, which delivers story ideas every morning. And here's a little bit about why it matters. Basically, our team at Plus 90, we produce explainers and mini documentaries on social and evergreen topics for Gen Z in Turkey. It's a bit similar to Vox documentaries for those who might know. And our core audience is the age group between 14 to 30-year-olds in Turkey, and we have a special focus on women. And what happens is that basically during these trend-scouting meetings, we filter the news through the lens of what matters for this target audience. And to be honest, sometimes many issues go unnoticed when we are struggling with daily tasks. So I made a custom GPT that will help us to, figure out what's going under the radar, and I'm calling it the Plus 90 Agenda Tracker. This little guy is really useful. It basically filters the news, checks other organizations and their coverage, monitors general social trends, and helps generating story ideas. And it always provides a link or source for double checking. I defined all the potential media sources manually. It's not always consistent, especially now that there's new GPT models are out there. Some of the old models gave the best results, but it's very useful. It really helped us to find a story already, and it's on the pipeline, and we are producing stories about the outcomes actually. And the second one is a daily email automation system, because I wanted the outputs to reach the whole team and make it more visible for me as well, and also for the whole team. 2 clicks away can be too many clicks away sometimes. And sometimes I don't click on it. Sometimes some of my colleagues don't. So I try to make the process much easier, and particularly for daily news. I use Zapier to do so. It had a lot, I had to do a lot more than I expected. I manually fed the data, created webhooks, write a Python script, connect it all to GPT, and plug it all into email. With the free version, I still need to improve the prompt for more consistent outputs, but it's been it made my life easier, I believe. And what's next is basically we are making more GPTs to create our own special AI buffet. And we want to improve it with the editorial feedback. And the goal is to make it more fit for the whole institution, more replicable, and fit for our own needs, scalable in-house. And we'll see what happens next. Thank you very much for listening. Feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much, Defne. I really appreciate it. I am so happy about all the progress that our participants have made, and just the progress they've made even since this program has ended. We're going to begin our Q&A function, our Q&A in general right now. So I'm going to invite all of our wonderful participants here to turn on their cameras. And we will get this started here. So I am quickly spotlighting everyone. So just give me one moment so we all appear in one place together. Perfect. Thank you all. There are still some great questions coming into the chat, so take a look at those. For those of you who are answering or had asked a question, open the Q&A function. You'll see the answered questions there that our panelists have been answering throughout the presentations. The first question that I have for all of you that I would love to know is, you all identified different kinds of projects that you wanted to work on. So how did you come up with this idea that this was something that you wanted to work on? And in the same way, how would you recommend others who want to identify an opportunity for AI adoption in their newsroom? How would they go about figuring out what makes sense for them? Who wants to start? Who do I want to put on the spot? I'll pass it to Haley.
Sure. I think for us, when I thought about a project, I was trying to figure out what could assist us in making our process better and faster. And for us, we're always trying to figure out what our audience needs and wants. And that's really what our focus has been in this year, especially with our reporting and those communities of interest, as I mentioned. So I say when you look across your board, I think for AI, it's very easy to say, oh, I could do this little tweak and make my calendar better, which is great. But when you think about what big impact you could make, I mean, Demetrius talked about saving hundreds of hours. Like we can make real influential impact in our newsrooms. And I think that we can think bigger for some of these projects.
Totally. Who else?
Could I jump in there quickly?
Go ahead, Tom.
We're a small newsroom. Everybody sits in basically one big room. And one of the things that I did is I just sat there with the team for a couple of days, and just literally watched what they were doing and watched when they groaned and, watched what certain things, what was involved in certain processes, and then would sit at the end of the day with the team and say, all right, like, can we fix this? Like, what about this? How would that work? Are you open to this? And it was that kind of just watching the behavior and iterating that created some of the ideas for, okay, we can automate portions of that.
Totally.
I mean, a good way to start is just looking for the weakness of the newsroom where we can improve. So in our newsroom, there were a lot of movements. I was a sport editor and I moved to the AI department, and also the beat reporter of energy moved to the assignment desk. So all these movements led us without really important information. And that's why I try to figure out a way to receive information from government and turn it into articles. So a good way to start is asking people in the newsroom how can improve, or what task do you don't like, so we can start building from that.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback on that, and I kind of touched on it in my presentation, but that was a constant question that I had throughout the course, because we were constantly getting exposed to so many different things. Like, it's so much that you can do with AI, and I'm like, I don't know where to start. And my coach, he was like, well, just talk to the team, ask them, what are you working on? What are the pain points of your day to day? And, build a solution for that, as opposed to what I think is cool, but what does the team actually need? And I think that gave a lot of great direction, even as we're continuing to, find new things. It just starts with just listening in the meetings, and what are we working on? What are we trying to figure out? And how does AI kind of fit into the solution for that?
I think, go ahead, Roni.
To me personally, I started everything from my personal pain points when I, particularly like when I mentioned in my presentation before, doing breaking news in seconds and then go live without you cannot take it back. So everything that I really focus on what I'm delivering to the audience, really focus on the ethical and responsible as possible. So the way how I came up with the ideas of the bias check is actually from that my personal pain points, and also to add what Giovanny said, that asking to your newsroom members. So actually, from my perspective, is we are all the newsroom members, and so we can answer all the questions from our personal reflection.
Defne, do you have a thought?
Well, the idea came to me when I was daydreaming, actually, about a task that I didn't want to do at that moment, or that something that felt repetitive, and that was highlighted from many of our instructors throughout the course. So it helped make my life easier, definitely.
I think it leads into a really great question, and I think you touch on some of these points there, but have you had any trouble getting buy-in on some of these projects, or just, the use of AI in general from any AI-resistant reporters or editors or people, and how did you tackle that or get that buy-in? Who wants to go first? Roni.
All right. It keeps going until now, actually. But well, experimenting really needs time, and I actually try to socialize and familiarize it actually through literacy. And this is actually the way how, many resistance when I try to invite some of my fellow journalists, but it's actually no problem at all when we start from, from the very small spectrum from our close friends first, and then later try to show them that whether it's actually there's always a flip side in everything, but I always focus on the positive things that can give a good impact in how in a way that it can enhance our work, particularly in my project in doing the live report. So I try to give an explanation more into some fellows in broadcast journalism particularly, and also go further into those with the articles and etc.
I'd say I haven't faced too much resistance from the team, but I will say I was skeptical of AI when I first started the program, admittedly, because we've all heard, the stories of hallucinations and AI just makes stuff up and AI is going to replace us, and so I throughout the entire program, I was thinking of, like, how do I kind of combat my own skepticism and, just learn about how AI works. And I've come to realize that AI is a tool just like the internet, just like a laptop. None of it, works on its own. It's a tool to kind of enhance our skill set and help us to do more, with smaller capacity. And I think in having that thought process, every conversation that I, start with the team, I start with, this is to help you do what you do just a little bit better, and I think that approach kind of eases, the skepticism a bit, and, everyone just kind of feels like, oh, well, this is really helpful. And like I said, we save nearly 100 hours a month. So, no issues there.
Totally. Any other thoughts on getting buy-in from hesitant people or your teams?
This is a little tangential maybe, but I do think that, and someone asked me a question about AI policies.
Mhm.
I do think that some of that, and you guys touched a little bit too on like the brainstorming, bringing people in and having those conversations about what AI looks like. What are the limitations? What are the disclosures? All of that good stuff. We know as journalists, we're out there trying to do the best, most accurate reporting and creation that we can. And so I think that has to be part of the conversation, because we should be skeptical, right? We should be thinking about the limitations or the drawbacks. And I think starting that conversation of what does our policy look like? What do we want to ensure we say to our audience, and think about ourselves is really important. So it's part of this kind of conversation too. There's some great policies online. If you look at the big guys, I popped in New York Times, but there's so many to just kind of get started and think about in your room, what does that look like?
Mhm. I also think you all touched on this a little bit in your previous answer to your question about in order to combat the hesitancy or the resistance from some team members, you need to embed yourself with them, talk to them about what it is that they are their pain points, where can you help? And by going on that journey with them, you already are kind of getting that buy-in from the beginning, and you're taking them along with you rather than just presenting, hey, here's an AI solution for you that I created and that had no involvement in. You're more likely to get them on board earlier as you go throughout that process. I have a couple questions in here from some people that were curious about your experience level with AI before you went into this program. I'm also, I think for some people can be difficult. Some of the projects that you did are really incredible. So how did you kind of get up to speed and get to where you needed to be in order to deploy and implement these projects? Giovanni. Or Haley, go ahead.
Yeah. I think you guys will laugh. I was using AI like a Google, the Google machine. So I quickly figured out that wasn't a really good use. If you're not as familiar with AI, you've like maybe written an email. So that's a good use case. But I think I really didn't have kind of the bigger sense of what it could actually create. And these projects, I think, are a testament to that, in that it can create some really cool stuff. A lot of people are asking too about how do you create it? Like, where do you I love my favorite thing to ask AI to build the AI. And so that's a really funny thing that I think I learned through this program. AI can tell you a lot of things about itself. So that's pretty cool. But that's where I was at the start.
Yes, obviously, I don't have. I started in this role in September of 2024, and the program was at the beginning of 2025. So I didn't have any expertise in AI or development, and I still don't have development skills. So yeah, I just let AI build AI. I use Lovable to create the platform, the whole platform. And I have been talking with ChatGPT how to make scrapping, web scrapping, how can I improve the interface or the workflow. And yeah, I have been using also no code platforms like Make, Zapier, and also AIM and HN, which let you create workflows and automate tasks without coding. So that's the way I created. I don't have developers in the newsroom. There's only one people in the tech department. So it was very complicated for me, but I did it. And you also can do it just asking AI and using AI.
Yeah, I'll just build on and really echo, maybe I'd try to underscore what Giovanni said. I did have a bit of a technical background. So some of the things that I've been able to do, I did leverage that. But a lot of what I did initially was really just leveraging tools that are out there and asking AI to kind of tell me how to do it, and then watching videos of other people who had done it as well. The use case might be a little bit different, but a lot of the tools were the same. So definitely check out Zapier for automation. There's some really, really cool stuff that can be done there without any coding experience. Make.com is sort of another one that's a little bit more involved, but also a great place to start. So I think people would be astonished at how much they can do without having any coding experience if they're willing to just dive in and try to solve a particular use case and learn along the way.
We are quickly coming to the end of our time here, so I want to ask one last question to all of our panelists here very quickly. And this comes from actually an alum of one of our other AI labs. So thank you so much for asking this. But I would like to hear from each of you one takeaway that you learned from this program that you are kind of keeping with you and carrying forth, and that you think others should know about currently. I'll give you a second to think about it. And if someone has an initial thought, go ahead. Otherwise, I will put someone on the spot.
I'll jump in. I think the main takeaway is to just try stuff. Just have fun, go out there, explore. It's so much that I still don't know what all is possible with AI. But any big idea that you possibly have, any big pain point that you might have, just ask AI, hey, how can I use AI to fix it? That's what everyone keeps saying, and I completely agree. AI will show you how to use AI to fix whatever solutions or issues that you're dealing with. So that would probably be my biggest takeaway. Just have fun.
Ronnie, I thought you were going to say something.
Well, the biggest takeaway that I would say about AI journalism lab adoption that I got is it's kind of life-changing for me, knowing that AI is having, many impacts in life, and that's where I got the inspiration that how can I give impact from using AI to people. So that's actually why I said the life-changing experience that I got. So the key takeaways: try and then apply, and I'm sure that you'll having fun for that.
Tom.
I think, and I credit a lot of my colleagues who are much deeper in journalism than I am. I'm a little bit new to all of this, for kind of helping me appreciate, number one, some of the historical history that has created perhaps some of the AI skepticism that exists in the industry. That's been a big eye opener for me. But I think the corollary on that is once I started to kind of make sense of that, I've been able to win over a bunch of folks who were skeptics like 9 months ago, like straight up, I'll never use it. It's here to take my job. Like it's going to destroy the industry, and kind of got them to more incrementally approach it, understand it, see its value, recognize it's not a huge threat, and then kind of move from highly skeptical to like actually willing to sort of use it. And that was a process, but I've been encouraged by their willingness to evolve.
Quick thoughts, Giovanni, Defne, Haley?
Yeah, I started without knowledge about development, and I finished with a lot of knowledge. Thanks, Cavi, for all the help, my coach during the program. So I will say also, don't be afraid to try AI. AI will be useful as you find a way to be ethical. And so yeah, don't be afraid to be exploring with AI in the newsroom.
I can say talk about it. Conversations make things better. And we've touched about it a bunch, but chat with the folks in your newsroom, use it together. We have a Slack channel. That's pretty cool. Share thing.
I'd say that many people have questions about their technical background, like feel like they don't know enough, especially if you are a person like me who comes from journalism background, and when you see coding, it gets scary. But the problems that you have matter more, and how you approach these problems, not your technical skill. And I think we all have problems at a certain level.
Wise words from all. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you to our panelists for taking the time to share their projects with all of you. We're really, really appreciative. The recording will be available soon, so we'll send that out. My colleague has dropped a feedback survey here in the chat, so let us know what you thought about the presentations today. We'd love to hear from you. Applications are still open for our next set of AI labs, so make sure that you apply, take a look at them. We'd love to see your application come through. And just thank you all so much. Make sure you're signed up for our newsletter so that you can get all of our information and keep up to date about professional development training programs at the Newmark J School. Thank you all so much. It is an honor and a privilege to be with you all today, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for coming. Bye, everybody.